Hi, guys. Welcome to yet another episode of Beyond Talks. I'm Bhuvan, and today I'm joined by my co host, my friend Raghav. Welcome, Raghav.
Yeah, thank you, Bhuvan. And hi, guys. It's good to be back. So, yeah, Bhuvan, what's the topic for today?
Yes. So, we are talking about something that feels disturbingly normal today. The
Mm.
topic is burnout being worn like a badge of honor. I'll tell you what led me to this particular topic. I recently came across an article where it mentioned that a Bangalore based employee, he posted on social media, it went very viral last year. So, the message, what he was trying to deliver was he had put on around 24 kilograms, and it's purely after he had joined work. It's called stress weight, chronic fatigue, or emotional numbness. There's no weekends, leaves are being cancelled in the name of dedication. So I just thought, why don't we revisit this topic, which gives us some perspective? Both of us are working. We will have some opinion to share. So I just wanted to understand exhaustion, isn't it a crisis anymore? I feel it's a currency. So what's your take on it?
Also, we are looking at alternate currencies now. Last time it was attention, and today is about exhaustion. At some stage, we might have to start a bank to keep track of all the currencies. Anyway, yeah. What you're saying is quite common these days. We see it on LinkedIn posts. Threads and everywhere. Office conversations. Being busy has become proof of seriousness. Else, nobody seems to take you seriously. There is this thought running inside. Most of the people's heads that unless you are busy, you will be termed as lazy. You need to be buried in a dump of messages or mails or something like that. There are few surveys also that kind of backs this up, and like people tend to work beyond the stipulated hours that is needed or as per law that's needed for a week. This is not just about work or the surrounding nature of the work. It's more psychological. Rest is no longer seen as recovery. It is treated like laziness. The sad part is many people involved in this hierarchy or involved in this entire system, starting from people at home to the management that we report to, whoever it is. I'm not blaming any individual here. The entire system works towards this thought process, and that's where we have we have seen this stories becoming quite common, and it's kind of disturbing. It's more, I would say, it's a cultural problem because this burnout phase didn't creep in quietly. It was celebrated at one point, and we are just reaping the rewards of it now, I would say, in a sarcastic way, if it didn't come out.
Very true, Raghav. Actually speaking, hard work it has always been respected. There is no two ways about it. But glorifying the collapse is something very different. That's the sign which we need to fight against. See, like you mentioned, the burnouts are being worn like a badge. It's a warning sign. It's a cry for help. But just in the name of commitment and dedication, people get and very correctly you mentioned it is the entire system which is flawed. Even if you look at our early stages, our student phase, we've been pushed into this urgency mode. We have to burn the midnight oil, probably also because we don't pay much attention in classes every single day. The culture is coming from the childhood. That's what I'm trying to say. Once you become a professional, then you have deadlines to meet. You have a very limited time, and even asking for resource seems like a big task. You feel like somebody might judge you, somebody will deem you to be lazy or someone who is not a team player. So these are the notions which are, I feel it's a root cause of all this burnout being celebrated, but it is not healthy. So you also mentioned about the stipulated working hours. It is set by government norms, but unfortunately, when you rise above in ranks in your corporate world, it becomes difficult to have a balance. Not just that your higher official is asking you to work, it's like you have a responsibility towards that. So it is always a challenge to stay balanced between two worlds. It's not just focusing on what is needed, but it is also focusing on what is really important. Like you mentioned about rest, I think that has become a taboo. I feel it is no longer considered as something which is relevant. That's the reason we are talking about this. Even social media is amplifying it. It is not at all helping a person to realize what are the issues they will be facing if they have a sustained period of burnout. So this is my take on it. It's not just your perception, it is also amplified because the way you have grown up or what you see and what you're being attracted towards that.
Yeah, right, rightly put. There is a strong cultural layer attached to this, especially in India. This happens. I have traveled to a bit of the Southeast Asian countries recently. I got a chance to live there for some time. I noticed, and this is I'm not generalizing one single country. This practice is common in Southeast Asian countries where they prioritize rest after lunch. That is, they take a 20-minute to 30-minute nap in their desks itself. Everyone, the entire company kind of shuts down for some time. They switch off their lights and they rest wherever they are in their seat. They just lie down and close their eyes. Whether they are sleeping or not, we don't know. But everybody shuts down their systems for some time. I have done a bit of research about it myself also, and that 20-minute to 30-minute period, which is otherwise called a power nap, is your sweet spot where your rhythm kind of your circadian rhythm resets itself. So it's literally like you're starting a new day in the second half. Your brain thinks that it's starting another day. So you start with the fresh productivity efficiency meter as how it would have been in the morning when you woke up. But there is a catch to it. When it goes beyond 30 minutes, you kind of enter into the deep sleep state. Then when you wake up feeling more tired than before. So this is another thing. Actually, the science backing behind this is your body is trying to digest the food that you had, and it is biological. It is normal. There's nothing to feel ashamed of in this. You will feel tired after you had lunch, and you have to give rest to your body. You have to listen to your body. So this is the whole concept behind it. That 15-minute, 20-minute nap which you take will do wonders to your productivity, and this concept is being frowned upon in India. We feel that this is wrong to feel tired or feel lazy after you had a meal. And especially in India, we have carb heavy meal. And with those overloads of carbs, you are bound to, feel drowsy because your body is working, using up all its energy to, fuel the digestion process. Coming back to our concept, this kind of is a taboo in India. And you know already we are exhausted, long commute hours, extended work days. Combined with that, even when we take a 5-10 minute nap in the middle, it's being frowned upon. And when this accumulates over long periods, it kind of affects your mood, which has a bigger impact on your health, your relationship, your way of thinking. You tend to get angry with people around you. Your thought process, your innovation kind of slows down because of this. I am focusing just on the negative effects of burnout, but it also, this is another way to avoid these burnouts by taking these naps post lunch, because ancient Indian people did prioritize these naps. We had this culture. When back then, I'm talking about few hundreds of years ago, when farming was the primary work of people, they used to work from early morning till mid morning or early afternoon. They'll have their lunch, then they'll rest. So it is biological. There's nothing to feel ashamed, or it should not be frowned upon, is what I'm trying to say here.
Raghav, you've hit upon a very, very relevant, and it is also backed scientifically. You mentioned about circadian rhythm. See, like those farming days when probably dates back to hundreds of years ago. So even the eating habit, the sleeping habit, it was as per the day cycle. They had a way of having their meals between sunrise to sunset, and that's it. They start their day very early. They take a break. They have their morning meal, which is a fermented rice or, which is very simple, but it keeps you full for a longer duration. Then they have lunch and they wind up everything before the sunset. No electricity, no nothing, just that it just follows the natural cycle. And then you go to sleep very early. So the amount of sleep, what they say is minimum 8 hours is what it required, right? You fulfill that requirement, 8 to 10 hours of sleep you get. Then you start early, and it was a physical task. It is, I think, what we are missing now. Of course, we can't go back to those days where we had hours of sleep every single day, because the work was so, physical task was involved where you just go home and then you collapse. But here, when you come to modern working culture, you have certain timelines to follow. Also, when you're having some foreign clients, you also work in different timelines. That causes a lot of issues. So how many of us have relished this midnight meals and so many other things, which is very popular these days, but that was not heard of in olden days. So you sleep, you have a proper gap after your last meal till you go to sleep, and next day you work out, there's actual work. So all of this is actually disturbing the normal physical wellness, and it also adds a lot of pressure mentally. So it's a systemic change that is required. We really need to see in our modern times how to balance, like, we can't get all the elements from the past, but there are some interesting elements which we can just pick up from the past and then see how we can use it in our day-to-day life. And very well, you mentioned that in your southeast country visits, where you have noticed this, people are doing it practically. So one quick nap, power nap, between that 10 to 20 minutes time, is it'll work wonders. Is there anything else we can? I'm thinking of food cycle also to be restricted between those rhythm. So any other thoughts from your end, Raghav?
More and this, I think I've missed one point. When we are put through this burnout cycles, let's say we are commuting to office, that adds another couple of hours a day in traffic, in that noise,
True. Well,
everything. And then we spend 8 to 9 hours in the office, and then when we are back, it's almost 7 8 p.m. into the evening, into the night, and we are left with very little time to do something productive for the rest of the day. Maybe we'll fit in a slot for exercising in the morning or in the evening after we are back, depending on the energy levels. But other than that, are we actually doing anything to keep our productivity outside work running? So that is another thing. Because of this burnout cycles and because of this glorification, that process takes a hit, and that just doesn't affect any individual alone. It is a collective societal thing. Why? Because our innovative thinking capacity kind of diminishes in this process,
yes.
because the most savvy innovations, or those tech side innovations, happens when the human thinking capacity is at its fullest. And because of this, as a whole society, as a whole generation, our thinking process is kind of diminished, because we don't sleep properly, we don't eat properly, and all of this affects our thinking. And when we look at the advanced developments of the previous generation versus our generation, yes, we can say we have made a lot of advanced development as a generation in different ways. We have left our roots and we are going towards something that is non existent, and we are building on that. But when there is a script that has already existed and people before us have done it, and it's proven it's working healthy for them, it's time that we should consider integrating that with the modern developments. Maybe if you look at it holistically, there will be developments, there will be robots that are developed, there will be developments in AI or anything. But what is an individual's contribution in that? Have we done anything towards it? When you look at it, there is a empty, hollow space to stare at. Yes, we are using it. We feel that it's going to run the world in the future, but have we contributed anything to it? And if no, then why? We need to start asking these real questions.
Well said, Raghav. Maybe it is really the time to stop wearing these burnouts as medals. We start treating rest as resilience. This was Beyond Talks, a conversation under Beyond Realms. Until next time, work with intention, pause without guilt, and live fully. Thank you.
And don't forget to dream. Thank you, guys.